Okay, so there's going to be a part 3. There's some other really interesting ones I kind of want to read. 1919 World Series Conspiracy. The 1919 World Series, often referred to as the Black Sox scandal, resulted in the most famous scandal in baseball history. 8 players from the Chicago White Sox, nicknamed the Black Sox, were accused of throwing the series against the Cincinnati Reds. Details of the scandal remain controversial, and the extent to which each player was involved varied. It was, however, front-page news across the country when the story was uncovered late in the 1920 season. And despite being acquitted of criminal charges, throwing baseball games was technically not a crime. The 8 players were banned from organized baseball. Example, the league subject to the national agreement for life. There are hundreds of other conspiracies involving throwing games, sporting matches, and large-scale entertainment events. It is common knowledge for many this list would have to go into the thousands if we included all of them. What's some other good ones? CIA drug smuggling in Arkansas. August 23, 1987, in a rural community just south of Little Rock, police officers murdered 2 teenage boys because they witnessed a police-protected drug drop. The drop was part of a drug smuggling operation based at a small airport in Mena, Arkansas. The Mena operation was set up in the early 1980s by the notorious drug smuggler Barry Seal. Facing prison after a drug conviction in Florida, Seal flew to Washington, D.C., where he put together a deal that allowed him to avoid prison by becoming an informant for the government. Imagine that. I became an informant for the government. Never would I do that. As a government informant against drug smugglers, Seal testified he worked for the CIA and the DEA. In one federal court case, he testified that his income from March 1984 to August 1985 was between $700,000 and $800,000. This period was after making his deal with the government. Seal testified that nearly $600,000 of this came from smuggling drugs while working for and with the permission of the DEA. In addition to his duties as an informant, Seal was used by CIA operatives to help finance the Nicaraguan Contras. The CIA connection to the Mena operation was undeniable when a cargo plane given to Seal by the CIA was shot down over Nicaragua, with a load of weapons. In spite of the evidence, every investigator who has tried to expose the crimes of Mena have been professionally destroyed. They have been professionally destroyed. I wonder what that could entail to. And those involved in drug smuggling operations have received continued protection from state and federal authorities. See, I've always believed that drugs are smuggled into this country not by smugglers, but by our own government. I am firmly believe that. And they don't want drugs to stop coming in this country. For one, they won't have jobs for drug task force. They won't make their money. So they don't want to legalize them, and they don't want to get rid of them. Because then, they got to make money. So, the Bohemian Grove, which is number 27. For years, many conspiracy theorists were saying that the rich and powerful met every year in the woods and worshipped a giant stone owl in an occult fashion. It turns out ABC, CBS, NBC, and many other credible news agencies investigated this and found out it's true. It is said to be just all fun and games, like Brotherhood-style fraternity stuff. Let's see, something else that's pretty interesting. That was pretty funny, actually. I kind of like that. There was one specifically I wanted to read. That's a long one. The Round Table, which is number 29, guys. If you check out this website, is extremely long. It's like almost, it's a whole page, basically. A little over a page. Oh, number 30. The Illuminati. The Order of the Illuminati was an Enlightenment age secret society founded on May 1st, 1776 in Upper Bavaria by Adam Weishaupt, who was the first lay professor of canon law at the University of Ingolstadt. The movement consisted of freethinkers, secularists, liberals, Republicans, and pro-feminists, recruiting in the Masonic lodges of Germany, who sought to promote perfectionism through mysterious schools. As a result, in 1785, the order was infiltrated, broken, and suppressed by the government agents of Charles Theodore, Elector of Bavaria. In his campaign to neutralize the threat of secret societies ever becoming hotbeds of conspiracies to overthrow the monarchy and state religion. In the late 18th century, reactionary conspiracy theories such as Scottish physicist John Robinson and French Jewish priest Augustin Barrier began speculating that Illuminati survived their suppression and became the masterminds behind the French Revolution and the Reign of Terror. The Illuminati were accused of being enlightened absolutists who were attempting to secretly orchestrate a world revolution in order to globalize the most radical ideals of the Enlightenment. I can't say the word. You guys read it. Anti-monarchism and anti-patriotism. During the 19th century, fear of the Illuminati conspiracy was a real concern of European ruling classes, and their oppressive reaction to this unfounded fear provoked in 1848 the very revolutions they sought to prevent. Although many say that the Illuminati was disbanded and destroyed so long ago, it is well known that the Rothschild dynasty, following the family's involvement in the secret order in Bavaria, received much attention for its major takeover of Europe's central banks. The Rothschild dynasty owns roughly half of the world's wealth, and evidence suggests it has funded both sides of major wars, including the United States Civil War. Here's the one I really wanted to read, guys. Number 32. Big Brother or the Shadow Government. It is also called the Deep State, by Peter Dale Scott, a professor at the University of California, Berkeley. A shadow government is a government in waiting that remains in waiting with the intention of taking control of a government in response to some event. It turned out this was true on 9/11. When it was told to us by a mainstream media, for years this was ridiculed as a silly, crazy conspiracy theory, and like the others listed here, turned out to be 100% true. It is also called the continuity of government. The continuity of government, COG, is the principle of establishing defined procedures that allow government to continue its essential operations in case of nuclear war or other catastrophic events. Since the end of the Cold War, the policies and procedures for the COG have been altered according to realistic threats of that time. These include, but are not limited to, a possible coup or overthrow by right-wing terrorist groups, a terrorist attack in general, an assassination, and so on. Believe it or not, the COG has been in effect since 2001. After 9/11, it went into action. Now here is after 9/11, it went into action. Now, here's the kicker. Many of the figures in Iran-Contra, the Watergate scandal, the alleged conspiracy to assassinate Kennedy, and many others listed here are indeed members of the COG. This is its own conspiracy as well. The secret team, the CIA and its allies in control of the United States and the world, is a book written by Air Force Colonel L. Fletcher Pruitt. Published in 1973. From 1955 to 1963, Pruitt was the focal point officer for contacts between the CIA and the Pentagon on matters relating to military support for black operations, but he was not assigned to the CIA and was not bound by any oath of secrecy. From the first page of the 1974 printing, it was one of the first tell-all books about the inner workings of the CIA and was an important influence on the Oliver Stone movie JFK. But the main thrust of the book is how the CIA started as a think tank to analyze intelligence gathered from military sources, but has grown to the monster it has become. The CIA had no intelligence gathered from, or had no authority to run their own agents or to carry out covert operations, but they quickly did both and much more. This book tells about things they actually did and a lot about how they operate. In Peroni's own words from the 1997 edition of The Secret Team, this is the fundamental game of the Secret Team. They have this power because they control secrecy and secret intelligence, and because they have the ability to take advantage of the most modern communication systems in the world, of global transportation systems, of qualities of weapons of all kinds, and when needed, the full support of a worldwide U.S. military supporting base structure. They can use the finest intelligence systems in the world. And most importantly, they have been able to operate under the canopy of an assured, ever-present enemy called communism. It will be interesting to see what enemy develops in the years ahead. It appears that UFOs and aliens are being primed to fulfill that role for the future. To top all this, there is the fact that the CIA itself has assumed the right to generate and direct secret operations. He is not the first to allege that UFOs and aliens are going to be used as a threat against the world to globalize the planet under one government. There's another book. It talks about a couple different books on here. The Secret Government, which exposed the inner workings of a secret government much more vast than most people would ever imagine. Though originally broadcasted in 1987, it is even more relevant today. Interviews with respected top military, intelligence, and government insiders reveal both the history and secret objectives of powerful groups in the hidden shadows of our government. The Report from Iron Mountain is a book published in 1967 during the Johnson administration by Dial Press that states that it is the report of a government panel. According to the report, a 15-member panel called the Special Study Group was set up in 1963 to examine what problems would occur in the U.S. entered a state of lasting peace. They met at an underground nuclear bunker called Iron Mountain, as well as other worldwide locations, and worked over the next 2 years. Iron Mountain is where the government has stored the Flight 93 evidence from 9/11. Yeah, they have the evidence from 9/11. A member of the panel, one John Doe, a professor at a college in the Midwest, decided to release the report to the public. The heavily footnoted report concluded that peace was not in the interest of a stable society, that even if lasting peace could be achieved, it would almost certainly not be in the best interest of society to achieve it. War was a part of the economy, therefore it was necessary to conceive a state of war for a stable economy. The government the group theorized would not exist without war. Nation-states existed in order to wage war. War also served a vital function of diverting collective aggression. They recommended that bodies be created to emulate the economic functions of war. They also commented.